Hey everybody, this is the captain speaking, and this is the story of Hell Comes to Stumptown. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear a pause like this. Let's begin now. The neighborhood went dark about an hour ago. I was taking a cell phone call outside when the flicker flicker flash happened, and in that brief moment I anticipated the apocalypse. I dropped my cell phone, yelled, "Wolverines!" and rushed back inside, bolted the doors against the looting horde that was sure to follow, my toes feeling their way in the darkness to the closet where I keep my camp box, wishing I'd spent last weekend putting together a bug-out bag instead of planning a trip to that day spa for my birthday. Sure, cucumbers work all kinds of magic on your T-zone, and who doesn't enjoy a good pedicure? But at that moment, cukes and toenails seemed more useful in their natural states. But what if the lights didn't come back on? All I had was a battery-powered headlamp and a modest assortment of scented candles. The headlamp is only as good as the batteries are, and the candles are only good as long as the lights are off on purpose and the internet is on. Once I located it, I dug through the camp box, fished out my old Rambo-style survival knife, sat on the couch, lit a couple strawberry daiquiri candles with strike-anywhere matches from the handle of the knife, and began to take stock. What about water? Anybody worth their salt knows the best water in this situation is in the toilet tank, so I was already about 4 or 5 gallons of liquid good in the black. But then what about food? I had a Boy Scout handbook that's just full of diagrams on making snares with shoelaces and wire coat hangers, and a troop of docile, free-range neighborhood squirrels loaded with local organic squirrel chow at my disposal, which was all fine and good as long as I could cook the chubby fuckers with fire. My place is inadequately ventilated for more than a scented flame or two, but if you're going to have an apocalypse, you best bring a spark. I may not have a bug-out bag, but I know 25 ways to start a fire, and there's a doctor in the West Hills with a stack of forms certifying my competency to do so. In a situation such as this, there's bound to be plenty of material for fire building, so I wasn't too worried about that. What I could go for, though, to soothe these anxious nerves, was a nice, cold bottle of beer. I knew if I opened the fridge, I'd risk raising its temperature, which would accelerate the spoilage of its contents, but desperate times called for desperate measures. Plus, if the food went prematurely bad, I had all those squirrels. So I opened the door and removed a bottle as quick as I could and popped off the cap. I took my first pull, and that's when it hit me. Pop the cap. This was not the end of civilization I'd signed up for. This was far too quiet. There was no gunfire, no explosions, no people running into the streets screaming their heads off. I sat on the couch to reflect on this, and as I took a second pull off my beer, the lights flashed back on. Strangely disappointed though I was, I had to question my tendency to overreact while working up the apology I will no doubt have to deliver to my neighbors tomorrow for all the yelling, and how rushing out to whiz in my radiator was probably not such a great idea after all. We hope you've enjoyed Hell Comes to Stumptown, written and narrated by Robert Holliday, illustrated by Pure Imagination. Copyright 2014, Bob Chuck Press. This has been an Old Wolfie production.